What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. We are back covering more Survivor. Man, I'm just... Yeah, and if you can't tell, I have my very good friend, my co-anchor on this entire journey. Abraham is here with me. Will should be joining us back next week. Abraham, we are back covering more Survivor. This time, Survivor South Africa, Return of the Outcasts. It's the first season we're covering for Survivor South Africa.
One, it's great to be covering Africa and their version of Survivor. It is a great season setup. I hope everybody gets a chance to go out there and check it out because they're doing something so unique with Survivor. Australia's not doing it. US is not doing it. They're going to get the people that didn't make the merge, and the people that did make the merge come back and get a second opportunity to play the game of Survivor from 4 different seasons. And they're going to bring back contestants that play with each other. So we're going to get a chance to see the relationships within the game of Survivor after the show ends.
I mean, the relationships are really playing a key in how everything's going at the moment, and we're going to get into that. But let me just start by saying, kind of getting some of the business side of things out of the way. Go ahead and go follow us on Instagram, by the way, at Survivor Now Podcast, or you can follow our own Instagrams if you would like. They will be in the description. But we are just 2 away from 400 followers, so please go help us out there. And then go check out some of our other podcasts. This morning, Abraham and I sat down with 2 of the first 3 eliminated castaways. Unfortunately, PK's got canceled this morning. He couldn't make it. But we sat down with Chappies and Tanya, and I think Abraham can back me up here. We had incredible times talking to them. They were just incredible, like such inspiring people. Abraham, how were those talks, man? They were awesome.
Look, if you want to meet some great people and get a view into how others perceive the game of Survivor, but also perceive what it gives back, definitely check the interviews out. You get a chance to meet some very entertaining people that really love the game, but also got a lot out of the game and gave a lot back. I mean, talking to them it was like a positive day. I was like, and being on the game of Survivor and knowing what that feeling's like, but to hear from a different perspective, great day, great interviews. I want to go play I want to play Australia because I want to go over there because I think I can get them.
You want to do? I mean, you just want to play any type of Survivor, Abraham.
Any type.
Exactly. Any type. I'm right there with you. But we're going to try to get going along here. We're going to try to keep this all under an hour. It's not going to happen. Hopefully, we'll end up around an hour, 20 minutes. But Abraham is actually in South Carolina today. So he's kind of busy, man, still sitting down with us and covering Survivor.
I am at my mom's house, and I am doing a podcast with Randy on Survivor. What more can you ask for?
The best co-anchor I could ever have asked for. I am blessed every time I get to do this with Abraham. But, all right, let's just start at the beginning, though. Episode 1, you guys know by now we kind of go chronologically throughout the episodes, and we're going to do something different than we do with Australia and Survivor US because there are 4 episodes a week. There's a lot to cover, so we're not going to cover everything. I'm sorry if we missed something you really wanted to hear us talk about. We're going to kind of just cover the big moments here, but let's just start at the beginning. Survivor is back. We see the 20 castaways arrive on these boats. They kind of come on a river on these boats, step off, and we see them standing there with Nico, and they split them up. Like you said, Abraham, they're all returning castaways, pre-merge and merge, which is a brilliant way to split them up. And there's so many past relationships. I mean, right off the top of my head, Tony, Tevin, and PK have matching tattoos. Steffi and Chappies are super, super close. Shane and Marion worked together in the past, and they're very close to each other. So, Abraham, it's so cool to see how these relationships come back into the game. And it's so awesome to see how Survivor is different based off which version you're watching. The US version, it's the classic one. Survivor Australia, very physical. And I feel like Survivor South Africa, from what I've seen, is the most social version of the game so far. So what did you think sitting down watching this and seeing them? come on to the island.
Well, looking at the first 4 episodes, it's almost like because of the way they structured this season, you're not starting day one where you're trying to build a relationship with someone because you know them. So really, you're kind of starting on day 10. So it's already past all the get to know part. Now it's like, okay, do I go straight into the game of Survivor, which we see? We're gonna get into it. We see some people go straight into looking for idols. Other people kind of say, hey, this is my second time playing. I'm just gonna lay back and I'm just gonna go with the flow. But I think I had a Juicy Dave sighting. I think I had one.
Oh,
I think I
really?
had
What
one.
what do you mean by that?
Where well, where we thought he was gonna get voted out. So for episodes on the chopping block once, and that was it. And it kind of faded. And it's like, okay, will he self-implode? Will he make the same mistake? So it's pretty interesting to see how that kind of did. And here's the thing. Me and Randy voted him to be the first one voted out on this season. So we agreed on one player,
And
and that was it. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see this season.
yeah, we're gonna get to him a little bit later. The only other thing I really want to talk about now is they're not playing for 1 million Ren because this is like an all-star season. They thought it would be smart to have double the prize. So the castaways are playing for 2 million Ren. I mean, Abraham, right off the bat, that has to make him go, okay, we're actually here to play.
Now I got to look it up and find out what's 200 Ren in US dollars. So, and that's the thing. We're gonna be like, okay, how can we equate it back to understanding it? And here's the thing about it is they made it an excellent season to come back and play. But I like the pre-merge merge type of background drop to this whole thing because everybody's kind of starting off at a different point, but not at one. Nobody's new to the game. This is not where you come in. We're trying to figure out how to play Survivor. The separate 3 individuals having the matching tattoos as not having some type of alliance, and be like, okay, what kind of game you going to play? You're going to play a social game. Now, they're all separated by tribes. So there are 4 different seasons that make up this season. They had Immunity Island of the Secrets, Immunity Island, Champions, Philippines. And those are some of the seasons that are making up this season where you have 5 of the same castaways coming back. So it's great to see them compete. And I just want to see how it's going to unfold. Now, I will be talking about food again during these podcasts.
And Tajan was the only person coming back that didn't have anyone from his season because he came from season 4, which is kind of I think they aired like 5 seasons and then the show got canceled and then they brought it back for seasons like 5 through whatever. Excuse me, 5 through 9. So let's get.
There's only one.
Yeah, he's the only one. Let's get to the first reward challenge, starting off right off the bat. And we've seen Survivor do this recently, where the first reward challenge is just for flint. The bare essential when it comes to Survivor. You want that flint to help you get fire. And it's basically a challenge that we saw in Survivor Australia, and we've seen it multiple times, which is you run out, you grab a ring, it's 2v2, and the first team to get their ring back to their pole scores a point. And we get the famous Steffi running on water scene in this one. Did you like the challenge, Abraham? Did you like the first challenge? It was physical.
First of all, I like all physical challenges because now you got to kind of strategize to do the challenge because everybody has to get some type of turn at the challenge. But I like a good, solid physical challenge. One thing I also like, episode 1, nobody got voted out. They just did episode 1. So it gives everybody kind of a chance just to kind of get back into the game of Survivor. Or if this was the first time being on Survivor, play the first game, play the first challenge, and give everybody a chance just to kind of do the whole Survivor thing before the voting starts. It gets chaotic. But here's the cool thing about it is I just enjoy when you got to compete to win. And they were only playing for fire. It wasn't like they were playing for food. They were just playing for fire.
I mean, you know how important fire is, Abraham. You've been out there on the island.
I slept in the dark. So, the first night we didn't have fire. So I know how it is.
And that was probably the worst night, wasn't it?
No, actually it was pretty fun. It's always gonna be scary to sit in the dark, pitch black, and you can't see what's in front of you. but you also have 5 other strangers right there with you. So it's not like you're by yourself. Now you can't see the ants, you can't see the spiders. You kind of got to push those out of your mind and kind of say, okay. Or for hours to kill a bird that almost attacked us in our little hut. But they they just kicked off. If you haven't seen episode 1, go check out episode 1 of South Africa Survivor and see how much fun they were having.
I forgot to say this at the beginning, but if you guys are listening to this, this is part of our premium program. Thank you guys for supporting the channel and being so awesome to for us and everything. So thank you for subscribing. So let's get to this is how I'm gonna do it. Where I got like these mini bulletin points, and then I have some small stuff underneath. So I'm going to basically say all the small stuff, and then Abraham, feel free to talk about what really stands out to you. I know you have some notes there as well. So basically we go to Mesu. We have Chappies and Dante getting close, the 2 Aquaman. They're talking about, wanting to possibly work together. We have pre-existing history drama between Marion and PK, and people are worried about the matching tattoo trio. We kind of get this island wife comment that kind of Marion's like, that was kind of a rude thing to say. And PK was just kind of joking about it. PK's like, let's not let our past interfere. There's some love drama there between the two. The season 6s want to stick together. That's Polisa, PK, Tony, and then they want to bring in Tajan. And then PK is worried about Tony being too emotional. So there was a lot to dissect here. Abraham, what really stuck out to you the first couple moments we got on the Mesu tribe?
Well, PK Marion really sticks out because we've never had players that actually dated. And you brought them back in a season, and you're like, okay, well, we know we dated, but they dated and broke up. So something happened. Now you got to say, okay, can we work together? Mariana automatically, I already know she's going to vote PK out. It doesn't make a difference because she has baggage with that. So interesting dynamics. The tribe members that are going to stick together, that is an interesting dynamics altogether because no matter who you stick with on Survivor, you're going to have to vote them out. So let's see if they actually try to go through the whole game, get to the merge, and let's see if it works. But the drama is already there. Everybody's trying to get an upper hand. We see where somebody says somebody found an idol. Then when we get someone say, hey, somebody says, hey, are you still together? And then, like you said, the tattoos, this is all making up a great season. Now, here's the fun part about it is this is only episode 1 and 2. This is not episode 5 and 6 where you've already had this stuff established. They're coming back and they're trying to set the tone on how they want to play. So Chappie and the bromance on the Aquaman, I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool. Because you said, hey, I watched your season. I wanted to play with you. And now you get a chance to play with some players that you've actually watched. That's the cool thing about this season for South Africa.
How much would it bother you if you were out there and 3 people had matching tattoos? Would you be targeting right off the bat? Would that be worrisome for you, or would you just not really care that much?
First of all, in the game of Survivor, you care about everything. So I wouldn't be so much concerned about the matching tattoos if they wasn't on my tribe. Let's just say one of them was on my tribe and the other 2 was on the other tribe. If anything, I'll say, okay, he's trying to get or she's trying to get to the other tribe. Well, let's work together for now. But when we merge and there's 3 tattoos still are together, then I'm going to be concerned because I can't do anything about the other tribe until we merge. So, but I can align myself with them. It's 1 or 2 with me, hang with them. If you got 3 matching tattoos and you don't play together, I just want to talk to you after the game. That's it. Our friendship is over.
I'll just say that what really stood out to me here, I thought coming into the game, I thought PK would be like one of my favorites. And while I enjoy watching everyone who's been on the season so far, it's funny that Marianne has become my favorite. And we're going to get into more of what's happening with her later. But the whole dynamic around her and PK to start this game, it was kind of awkward because she went up to PK trying to talk game, and I felt like PK just wanted nothing to do with game chatter with her. Every time she walks up to PK and Tony, they just didn't want to talk strategy.
That's that. And again, you brought players back that knew each other and they dated. And if you go back to the entrance, you say, yeah, PK says, yeah, she wanted more. Marianne wanted more than I wanted to give. So you already know there's some drama there. So, and whatever broke them up is what Marianne holds on to when she talks about it. Well, his ego is so big. And I was like, God, dog, he just started. No, she about to get him. And that's that. And that's a part of Survivor. We're going to see that info more too.
Oh yeah, we will. We go to the Yantao. Is it Yantao or Yantu?
Yantu.
Yantu. We go to Yantu. This is the pre-merge tribe. And we have some of the stuff that's happening over here. Tanya wants a female alliance between her, Toriso, and Pinty. And Killarney kind of gets mixed up in that. Shane has struggled with being the first one voted off his last season. He said he was the first one voted out, and that really affected him mentally. He was having a rough time post-game once he was out of that. And then there was some eating drama between Pinty, Tanya, which we're going to talk a lot about, and Shona. Shona was like, no one eat the pineapple, it's rotten. Pinty was like, I'm going to eat it. Like, I don't care if it's rotten. And Tanya was kind of like, Pinty's eating more than the guy. So this kind of started the Pinty and Tanya rivalry that we're going to get into. I mean, look, I was on Tanya's side a lot here, and we're going to talk about it later on even more, but food is something in the game of Survivor that you don't mess around with.
Well, because you're still burning fuel all the time.
Yeah.
You may be laying around, you may be doing nothing, but when you start moving around, you got to compete in challenges, and then you're eating food that's not what you normally eat as substance. Like we had coconut milk. Well, on a given day, I would never eat that. That's not going to be enough. And then you're splitting it between 5 or 6 or 7 cast members, everybody's trying to feel, trying to say, hey, you take some. You're so gracious to a fault, you're starving. Like, take some. But you don't want to come off as that castaway as you eat more rest. But, it happens every season. We saw it in season 42 with Jonathan, a bigger guy that needed more calories. But at the end of the day, he was putting in work. So we've seen it in older seasons where your star players of your season and challenges wouldn't do anything at Tribe. They just kind of lay around because they're trying to conserve their energy for the challenge. So it's a dynamics to it.
I wanted to say as well about this whole situation. I was loving all of it. I thought this was prime Survivor, Abraham. Everyone, I mean, we've seen this on both tribes. You're talking Marianne and PK getting into it. You're talking Tony and Dante, which we're going to mention later. And now we're talking about Pinty and Tanya. It seems like everyone, and like you said, it's kind of like they're starting on day 10. Everyone is so emotional to start this season.
I love it. It's great because you take away that first section where you try to get to know everybody. Well, most of them already know each other. So it's not like, and here's the thing about it is, it was so ingenious because of these relationships that are outside of the game of Survivors there. Now you got to say, okay, I got to cut your throat. I got to vote you out. And I'm like, I just talked to you last week before we came to play the game. I hope we talk next week, but it's a great dynamics to come in there and see how these relationships that were formed outside of the game of Survivor are going to be able to thrive in the game of Survivor. And we're just getting started. These first 4 episodes were full of emotion.
Oh, yeah, they were. Yeah, it has been a crazy way to start Survivor South Africa. The next big thing I want to get to is let's talk about the Breakfast Club over on the Mesu camp. So you're talking Steffi, Meryl, Marion, Dante, Shane, and Chappies. The Breakfast Club. It looked like this alliance was going to run the show over on the Mesu tribe. That's everybody except for Tajan, PK, Tony, and Palisa. Or Palisa, or however you say it. So Abraham, what happened here? Because Chappies, we can go ahead and say Chappies goes home this episode. What happened?
First of all, it's the worst Breakfast Club ever. Your 2 top supposed to be in your alliance are the 2 top that gets the votes to go home. So you got Shane getting the votes, you get Chappie gets the votes. He by 1 vote, Chappie goes home. If it was 1 vote the other way, Shane goes home. So I don't know where it kind of self-imploded at. They say Chappie was looking for idols, but in the game of Survivor, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to look for idols.
Well, you can't look for idols in front of everyone.
Well, no, because we're going to come to an episode where the entire tribe looks for one item.
Yep.
And it was after someone said, "Hey, Telvin, you found an idol," when he actually never found an idol. So he was like, "I never found that idol." But it was funny how they looked for it and gave it to him. So it's kind of interesting which is also going to bring us to the Outpost Idol, which was really
point.
unique. Yep. Is unique to the game where you send two players to what they consider to be the outpost for food, but also to be able to I thought that was a great twist to the game.
Yeah, let's get to the Outpost Idol. I love this. Loved it. So this is what ended the first episode. Each tribe had to vote for two people to go and represent them. For Mesu, we had Steffi and we had Shane. And for Yontao, sorry, I'm going to get that down eventually. We had Samus and Toriso. So they had to kind of sit there and negotiate. Each pair got to pick two items to take back to camp. Mostly food was the thing that everyone went for over tools and stuff, although Yontao did get their flint, which was good. And then they had to vote. They could talk about it, but they all got to individually vote for who they would give this Outpost Idol to, which was a really interesting twist. It was a immunity idol that had to be played at the first tribal council, even if your tribe didn't go to tribal council. So let's say, the person who eventually gets it, Tevin, Yontao did not go to tribal council, so he went alone to tribal council, got to kind of listen in, got to stir some things up, and then he got to play it for someone because it had to be played at the first tribal regardless of who went. I love this. It was something that I don't remember anything being like it. Abraham, I was thinking you had to like this as well.
Look, think of the dynamics. You're about to go to your first tribal council. They're going to send somebody that is not voting. Their tribe won immunity, but they're going to be able to save somebody on your tribe. Now, here's the cool thing. It goes back to all the relationships that you have on other tribes, on other seasons. It automatically comes into play. So she was during her season, she was with the Philippines. Tevin was on, what I got him on. Bear with me for just a second.
Immunity
Island? He was on the Philippines, nope. And Tevin was on, where's he at? He was in the Philippines. So, okay. So you got two returning players, both from the same season, but on separate tribes. But Tevin, they got immunity, so he's there and said, who should I save? Now, here's where it goes back to the 3 tattoos for me at. He has an opportunity to build a relationship across tribes. So when the merge comes, he'd be like, hey, I saved you. So, and nobody was expecting who was going to be saved because basically everybody on that tribe was campaigning to be saved. So you're trying to make a decision on who you want to save. And here was the other dynamics I loved about that. They're sitting at tribal basically saying we want to have disagreements, but we got a stranger in the camp tonight. So we don't want to have too many disagreements where they kind of see where we got our problems or concerns at. And Telvin's just kind of sitting over there. Now, here was the bombshell.
Oh, when Nico was like, Tevin gets to say something, I was like, oh my gosh, please. And he killed this. He literally, boom, bomb on tribal.
And I was like, why did he pick him? He was like, tell the tribe who y'all really was going to vote, who y'all wanted to vote out. And was it T-John?
No, they wanted to give the idol to T-John. Yeah.
T-John. Here's the thing about it is, T-John was just sitting there. He wasn't a part of any conversational topics in the edits before they went to tribal. Nobody had called his name for anything.
We haven't really seen a lot
until that moment.
Like, period. We haven't really seen anything.
And he's sitting there like, wait a minute, what? He was like, really? I mean, and the only time you hear him talk is at tribal. So that was a bombshell.
Well, so after he said that, that's what Polisa was saying the entire time. She's like, I feel like Steffi and Shane are hiding something from us. And as soon as he said that, she was basically like, I knew it. Why didn't you tell us? And then Tony, You picked Tony as your winner, Abraham. I don't think Tony's going to get very far in this game. She is an emotional wreck. I love you, Tony, but wow, she is very emotional.
In 3 of the last 4 first episodes, Tony has been pretty. I'm gonna say she's been pretty interesting. I'm saying, I'm like, and I think I got to go back. Tony, I had you. Let me see. I don't misquote myself. I had you down as my winner. You had it down as making merge. It's looking real sketchy right now. Real sketchy. The write-ups they don't do anything to the actual reality of seeing the players actually live.
Well, her write-up said she was emotional, but like you said, Abraham, I didn't like your yeah, we did not expect her to be this emotional.
We did. At one point, she was playing the game. She was manipulating the game because she wanted Marianne out the game, and I was like, okay, that's a survivor move. But then in the next thing, it's a lot of emotion, and I don't even want to tell everybody. Go look at it and see how it all starts, and be like, I did put it down as my winner pick. I'm not going to retract it. I still think she has great opportunity to make it. So if you're, which I hope you are, you're still going to be my winner pick. But you a lot of emotion up front.
Well, you can't take it back now. No, you can't take it back. But I will say, before we move on to one of our other big topics, so if you haven't found out by now, or realize this, Chappie's is the one that goes home first, which was, we'll get to that in a quick second. Firstly, I want to say the immunity idol, the tribal immunity idol, I think is gorgeous. I think it's like something out of a superhero movie. Like I could see that in like Aquaman or something. Like it is really cool.
I can't. I'm not gonna bash my own season because we had great looking idols, but when I saw that, I was like, man, that's nice. Who came up with that idea?
It's like a trophy. Like who gets to take that home afterwards?
When I come back on Survivor and I win, I'm taking that. That's gonna be. They're gonna turn their back and we're gonna be celebrating, and I'll be trying to put that in my bag.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. I'd love to see it. I don't know. I know a lot of you guys might be like, who cares? It's an immunity. I pay attention to the immunity and like what the art department does every year. And I am a sucker for good. Like the snake that we saw in season 42, loved it. Remember that snake that kind of like ate itself or whatever. And then you had like the little, it was stupid that the second place just got the little podium, but the snake was badass.
It came apart. I was like, can we do better? I mean, but look, you're not even concerned about that. If you're on the game of Survivor, you just don't want to see your name in that urn. That's all. It makes no difference. As long as my name is not in there.
So did Chappie's going home shock you, Abraham?
It did, because I was like, here's some of the things about Survivor. Everybody is going to look for an idol. Everybody. If you don't look for an idol, why are you on the game? The game is a part of protecting yourself to get as further in the game as possible. Now, the way he went about it, okay, well, you can kind of question that. But to me, there are other people that I probably would have voted out before I voted Chappie out. He wouldn't have been my top vote. So, and here's, people gonna be like, okay, why? Well, okay, look at the challenges. In order to go further in Survivor, or in order to hide, you need somebody up front. To me, I'd have pushed Chappie up front. Good guy, gun hole, physically fit, going out there, do the challenge. I mean, what you don't see is those challenges are grueling.
A lot of people were super disappointed with Chappie's going home. I mean, there's a lot of fans who threatened to stop watching because what's the point of the season? Chappie's is out. Like he was going to be the entertainment value. I ask you guys.
It's a lot of entertainment.
I ask you guys, keep watching. Like Chappie said, he posted a video, said, don't stop watching. How are you going to get to see more Chappies? Watch the show, support the show. That's going to have, that's going to cause them to keep making the show. I don't think it's going to be the last time we see Chappies. And like Abraham, I think this season is going to be an incredible season.
If you want to get an idea who Chappie is after the game, tune into the podcast and look at the interview we did today with him. Great guy. Africa is just as strong as the US and Australia when it comes to Survivor. I mean, but you got to tune in. You got to look, and you got to you as now, I'm a viewer. I want to develop my relationship with them and be like, oh man, I thought this was gonna go differently, but and then we meet them after the game, so it's so unique for us to have that experience as well. But definitely continue to tune in, build your relationship with who you think the winner should be, and let them and play through them and just enjoy the game.
We're on to episode 3 now, for those of you keeping track. Let's go ahead and talk about Shane's position in the game. He was expecting to go home, and I did notice this.
Juicy
when
day.
when the when the votes were getting split between him and Chappie's, he had his bag in his hand. He was already looking around saying, like, good move, guys. And he was really shocked that he didn't go home. And he said, we saw him standing on the beach, and he's like, I'm at a really weird spot right now because I thought the vote was going my way. I'm still here, and now I don't really understand where I am in the game. So I wanted to give you this opportunity to talk about your Juicy Dave moment. And Shane, for me personally, I feel like he's in a sneaky good position. I really don't feel like anyone's focusing on him, and I could see him going very far in this game. He seems like a super smart player. Just reminding you guys, Abraham and I really don't have any idea who these people are before this season. So we're meeting everyone for the first time, and he kind of gives off that, a little bit of cocky villain vibes. So Abraham, what is Shane's position in the game to you?
First of all, me and Randy sat down and we did a whole breakdown of all the players for South Africa. And the one thing we agreed on was that Shane would be the first out.
I had 2 first out. So I looked back at that. I had 2 first out.
And season blindsided when I was like, oh, very first out. So here's the thing. Shane and me and Juicy Dave, because you remember Juicy Dave was destructive at the beginning. Shane was he was playing too hard to me. Just kind of ease back and settle into it, but he was playing way too hard to me. But now here's the thing. Now you make it through the vote. And same thing with Juicy Dave. Juicy Dave made it through the vote and he went stealth quiet. He was quiet. He ain't say nothing else. He was just basically saying, okay, who needs me? And I think Shane is going to fall into that same role. Hey, whoever needs my vote, you got my vote, as long as it's not for me. And I think they've done enough to keep Shane on the straight and narrow until the merge. So I'm happy that he wasn't voted out first. Not saying that I'm happy Chappie was, but Shane, you made the vote, and I think he's going to go a lot further because now he's a free agent. Who are you going to vote for? Who you need me to vote for? So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how his character develops in this season.
It's time, Abraham. I hope you're ready for this, and I hope your heart can take it. It's time to get into the infinite saga that was Tanya versus Pinty. And Tanya told us earlier that's how the TV painted it. It really wasn't like that, but it starts here with Pinty is eating more food than everyone else. She's taken up the good part of the fire, which this is basically what she said. I know you guys can't see me at the moment, but if you take your hand and you put it sideways and that's the fire, Pinty was laying like right under your hand, like taking up that entire space, leaving no space for anyone else around the fire. So that's what she was angry about. We talked about that off the interview there. So the thing is, this is how it all gets started. We hear her, we hear Tanya called Pinty a greedy little pig, which a greedy little piggy, and I quote. And that was I thought that was a little too harsh personally, but I was on Tanya's side here through all of this. I was on Tanya's side. All the messages she said I thought were beautiful. She had some of the best quotes throughout the entire game. I think I saved some of them here for you guys, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. I was on her side here, and I am shocked. I'll go ahead and say it. I know we've got more to talk about this situation. I was so disappointed in the tribe for voting Tanya out before Pinty. I'm like, we're grown adults, and we're going to keep Pinty over Tanya. So disappointed. Abraham, I'd love to hear your opinion on this whole situation.
So when you're out there and food becomes a premium, it's something that it's also a premium, but it's also a factor to get you voted out. And Pinty's behavior is a little gruffy. It's a little gruffy. So we'll say that towards the tribe and towards Tanya and the food. And here's the thing about it is the editing shows what it wants you to portray this whole episode as. Now, greedy little piggy, I mean, you can't really take that back, but it's something that sticks.
But she said that, but she did not say a greedy fucking piggy, which is what. Yeah.
Greedy little piggy. And everybody had something that they could have pointed to Pinty about that was a little gruffy. But here's the thing about it is you're looking for an edge in Survivor to go your way. And no matter what, if it works, it works. It doesn't, it work. I think that this situation was more genuine to the fact of, yeah, you're overeating. Everybody wants a certain portion to try to sustain themselves. And it just it's the game of Survivor. I mean, it's never going to change because food is one of the mechanisms that makes people turn into their true selves. Because if you ever look at Survivor, and I always say this season is different because you go from day 0 to day 10 versus day 1 where you still got a little bit of calories left over before you got in the. No, they came in the game now, so they already hungry. And Pinty is, I don't know if it's the editing, but you can't run around a dune and open up a coconut and say you eating a coconut by yourself and not be labeled as the greedy little pig. I mean, the editing was perfect for her.
Yeah.
You're hiding behind a dune, eating the coconut by yourself, and you're just shoving it in your mouth. You're just like, I got to get this down because I don't want nobody to hear. And I'm like, well, okay, well, your other tribe mates want something too, but she fits the character that they paid it for, and Tanya was the one that called her out. The rest of the tribe was like, I ain't gonna back you.
I mean, she has a reason to call her out, though, right? Like, you don't have to pick a side if you don't want to, but who were you kind of leaning towards here? Were they both in the wrong, or how were you looking at this whole situation?
So here's Survivor wrong or right is not reality's wrong or right. So I'm not going to say that one. I'm looking at the game. Okay. I'm saying that who performed better in the challenges and who can I tolerate for a couple more days? Really, that's what it comes down to. Remember Marianne from season 42, her bubbly, happy personality? We also said, who's going to be, who nerves is she going to get on first? Because they can vote you out because you're on their nerves.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, so, and that's the game of Survivor. Now, in the real world, I would take Piney. You got to go. I got to vote you off. I got to vote you off my life island.
How far do you think Piney can go now? Sorry, we're kind of going out of order. This is how it's going to be. 4 episodes is a lot of Survivor, but how far can Piney go now that Tanya's not in the game? Because we heard Phil said, he wanted her to go. Felix obviously wanted her to go, but they didn't want to vote against the grain. So where does Pinty's game lie now that they've been split up?
It's the same as Shane. Pinty been scared. She was on the chopping block. If she comes back and settles down, she can't be. Eventually, the bully thing is going to wear itself out. If she comes back and settle down and play the game that she says she's going to play, be strong in the challenges, and just relax. She definitely gonna be in the merge, and I think she's gonna be able to get into the top 8. What I have Piney at in my list. Look, I like to go back to my list.
I think we both said pre-merge.
I had her as top 8. So if Piney can come back and say, you know what, I almost got voted out over something else that really didn't have to happen, she's gonna make the top 8.
Okay.
If not, she's getting voted out next. Next week she's voted out.
I struggle to see her going farther in this game, but we'll have to wait and see. Another thing that's going on, you alluded to it earlier. Teresa went digging for an idol, couldn't find it because we see these symbols that are literally carved into the trees. So searching for that idol has been a big talking point this season. And there's one at both tribes, obviously. She can't find it. She's talking to Tanya and Killarney, and she says that Tevin has found the idol. Why?
Best move ever.
Why? You said best move ever? That's sarcastic, right? Why?
Yeah, best move ever.
I rolled my eyes so far in the back of my head, I thought they were going to be stuck backwards forever. I mean, it was like, what are you doing? This obviously makes it back. She's like, oh, the news spread like wildfire. Well, yeah, you're on Survivor. Of course it's going to spread. And Killarney ends up telling Tevin. And we're just going to go ahead and skip. This was obviously much later on. Once they win, they do win immunity again. Yantao does. But Tevin kind of brings everyone together. And okay, I just want to get this out of the way. I've heard that people think I have the idol. And I liked what Tanya did here. She stood up for Teresa. She could have outed Teresa, and she made it like, oh, well, no one told me or whatever. She stood up for her friend. But the thing is, they decide to collectively, as a group, look for the idol, which they do find under their shelter. And Samus decides just to keep it as like a tribal idol. Abraham, tell me your opinions here.
You have to first of all
before the third tribal. You have to use it before the third tribal, or yeah.
So here's the thing. I had a list of things I knew I was going to use on Survivor. I knew I was going to throw some people on the bus. I'd already picked them out. They were there on my bus list. But here's the thing. She got nervous to the point where she just threw a name out. Like you've never seen the game of Survivor.
No, I watched it. I watched it back. It was the first name they said. They were like, "Oh, it's already been found," and she's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Tevin," and then right after Tevin, they threw out another guy's name, but they didn't even get to that guy because, yeah, they said Tevin, and she already went yes. Like what?
And that whole thing could have blew up on two levels. One, Tevin, they could have really figured out he didn't have the idol, which he didn't. And when they went and looked for the idol, they realized that he didn't have the idol, and they could have came back and said, well, "Why'd you lie?" It was an unnecessary move. And that's the thing about it is, it doesn't take a lot to get you voted out Survivor, but that definitely would get you voted out Survivor. So just for G Wid's purpose, like, oh, we can't even trust you to tell the truth about something that you didn't even have. And her rationale was she wanted more time to look for it. So you just threw the wrong person under the bus. You should have threw Shane under the bus.
How are we feeling about Tevin so far in this game? Because I feel like he is.
I like Tevin.
I feel like he is the head. He's getting the most screen time, and I feel like he is the head of the Yantao tribe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Abraham. It seems like he's running things over there, and he's just playing so much better than everyone else.
He's kind of laid back because when he takes Tanya to the side and says, "Hey, look, I know you're kind of upset about Pinty eating all the food, but don't let her consume you to the point where they start pointing the finger at you." Had she taken that advice and executed on it, they would have voted Pinty out easily. But we've met Tanya. She's a great young lady. We know why she didn't do it. I think she must have been born on the sign of a Gemini because she did not take her own advice at any turn. Before I forget, we did have an injury on Survivor.
Oh, yeah. When did that happen? I might have just... it was Dino. Did I miss
Dino.
It? Was it episode 3 or episode 4?
I think it was episode 3. Because he goes to the challenge. Dino falls into the fire.
It was episode 4, but we can go ahead and talk about it.
Dino falls into the fire, which, let me tell you something, is more possible than you think, especially if you're not used to being around outside fire and smoke and trying to get it lit. And he fell in and put his hands in the fire, but he pushed himself out. So he did sustain some injuries.
It was just like Michael, I can't remember his last name. Scoopin
fell in Scoopin was trying to light the embers, and he fell into the fire. And I don't think he pushed himself out. I think that's why he was hurt so bad. So, because you never get the edits to say how he got out the fire. All you see is him falling into the fire and then running to the water. So I'm assuming he got back up, but he was in the fire a lot longer because he had to be medevaced out. Dino, they just put some bandages on it. They said, "You'll be good in a couple of days."
I was worried. I don't know how you felt. I wasn't too worried because it was still early on in the episode, and I was like, okay, we've got 4 episodes a week. 20, there's no room to like eliminate someone early on and then do another elimination. We were like literally 5 minutes in the episode. But I was a little worried, and I don't know where Dino goes from here. He's all bandaged up. He can't compete in some of the challenges. They're going to have to kind of break the rule of you can't sit back-to-back challenges or whatever, because he's obviously going to have to sit out a lot of challenges, which kind of shocks me that they left him in the game, because if you can't do the challenges... the
medical folks says only be a couple of days. He can use his hands.
Okay.
So he wasn't injured bad enough where, and again, if it was multiple challenges, they'd have pulled him from the game.
Yeah.
because you have an unfair advantage too. So, but they said no, we're just gonna put the cream on there. You'll be fine in a couple of days. So he set out the next challenge, and then we don't have episode 5 yet, but he sets out the next challenge. But his tribe was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. We got you. You're not on the chopping block. We're gonna let you heal." So, and you really don't get any edits of Dino anyway in these first 3 episodes, so we got to worry about it.
It was
I'm looking forward to see what happens next.
He kind of had that purple edit where we didn't see much of him. I think he'll be fine. I don't think his hand. I mean, the tribe talked to him about it too. The tribe didn't seem at all in any of these 4 episodes like they really cared about his hand being injured.
I don't remember who was the pick that really assured him that he wasn't going to get voted
Samus.
out. It was
Samus.
Samus.
Yeah, Samus was right there with him. Or
yeah, Samus was talking to him and said, "Hey, look, we're not going to vote you out." So it was. I mean, it was a good episode to see that. Well, everybody be conscious that you can get hurt on Survivor. It's not one of those games where you're not going to get something. We all got something from playing the game of Survivor. And you look down and happen. What did I get that cut for? Some bamboo get you? Or we was waiting for somebody to chop their hand off with the machete. I was like, it's going to happen. So I'm just going to watch it.
That would be.
Because you're sitting there with a coconut and you got the coconut. I just looked at you like.
I tell my friends who are all like big in the sports, like that's all they live, eat, breathe sports. I said, Survivor is just like sports. We have injuries, especially in Australia and South Africa, almost yearly. I never wish for injuries, but we were talking about this too, Tanya and I afterwards. The U.S. Survivor, they don't do a lot of these awesome challenges because they're too worried about safety, which is a good thing to be worried about. But if you get what I'm saying, like all their challenges, they try to make as safe as possible. Survivor Australia has an injury or two almost yearly, and Survivor South Africa has dealt with its fair shares as well. Survivor US used to have a lot of injuries, but now they kind of just do repeat puzzle challenges and stuff like that to try to avoid it. No, you gonna disagree?
Push back. Okay, so if you go back and look at that very first challenge where we had a puzzle at the end, running up the cargo net was easy. Now, depending on how you came down the cargo net, I just threw myself over and I just had a blast rolling down. Then you're going through some sawdust, which is not that bad. But when you put your hand on them sandbags, oh my goodness, them sandbags is heavy. The sled that we had to pull up to get the puzzle pieces up was heavy.
So you're saying the risk of injury is still there?
I'm saying that if I had to rack and stack, yes, we'll still be in third spot. I will put Australia at number 1, and I'll put South Africa until we see more challenges at number 2. Yeah, we're still number 3, but we still got fans out there. We still got tough challenges.
Oh, it's still the most popular Survivor based off numbers, but that's crazy. You're already ready to put South Africa after 1 week, basically at second over the U.S. version.
Man, forget about it. Look, they got challenges.
What'd you say?
They got when we do the challenge where they got to jump. When they jumped in the water and you had to pull the buoy in the water and then they had to do the little push up and down to pull you back. Man, look, that stuff is brutal. I love it. I said, I want to go out there and play right now.
Yeah,
look,
Jeff,
because you think about it, we had the basketball challenge.
Yeah.
Jeff, bring Abraham back to execute for you. That's what you got to do. Bring Abraham back. I'm ready. I already told you I was seasoned and ready. I'm ready to come back.
Let's go ahead and jump to this mess, as I like to call it. I've got a lot to say on this. It was a situation between Tony and Marianne. They're heading back to Tribal after losing immunity again. This is going to be the second Tribal, second person voted out. And Tony wants to go Marianne because she feels like she's the weakest player. She's not doing anything around camp. I really had a problem with how Tony was looking at Marianne as the weakest player, and I really felt it when Marianne broke down and she said, I am not the weakest player. My skin is burning. Like, if you guys don't know that skin condition, she cannot be in the sun. That's why she wears all this baggy clothes. How do you say it again?
It's vitiligo.
Vitiligo. She can't be in the sun. That's why she's wearing all these baggy clothes, and it gets hot there during the day, like hot. While it's cold at night, it is fiery during the day. She's wearing these winter coats and stuff just to cover up and stay out of the sun. And she says her skin it's hurting. It hurts really bad. And we haven't seen her complain once. She says she hasn't said one thing about it. And she gets called weak a lot here. I had someone on Twitter messaged me and said Tony never called her weak. And I disagree. There was multiple times she said, we got to get the weakest player out. She's not doing anything around camp. Why is she even in this game? She doesn't deserve to be here. I didn't like this. I'm not saying Tony is in the wrong. I mean, it's a game, you do it. She even used her skin condition to say, I'm worried about her and her skin condition. I don't like when people use someone else's disability or condition to say, hey, because of this, we need to send them home. That is not her place to say that. So this was just kind of a messy situation. And the Breakfast Club formed up around Marion, minus Chappies, obviously. But the Breakfast Club 5 formed up again. And to turn the vote on PK here, which, I mean, PK was, I was fully expecting PK to go here.
When I saw Tony, and I'm like, okay, everybody has their own line in the sand when it comes to the game of Survivor. What they will do, what they want to do. And she kind of casually said in her statement, oh man, I'm going to do that. I'm going to use her skin condition to try to get people to say, hey, maybe we should send her home because of her skin condition. And I'm like, wait a minute. That has nothing to do with the game. So everybody has their I'll say, line in the sand of what they will and won't do in Survivor. But then we go and we see where she feels as though she's being attacked. And now she feels like she's a victim. After the tribal council, PK gets sent home and they're discussing it back at camp. I'm like, well, no, you just attacked Marianne in your own edit to try to get her out. You can't go after other players and say, well, you're raising your voice. You're going to be passionate on Survivor. You're not directing your higher tone. And that's how she took it, as though he was attacking her.
Right in front of Marianne.
Dante.
Yeah, Dante. Right in front of Marianne, too, after PK went home. She's literally sitting there, you guys made a mistake. We just got rid of one of our strongest players. And in front of like 6 girls, she's like, we're not going to be able to win challenges now because they have 5 guys and we only have 3. And I'm like, okay, sister, you got to put faith in your fellow women here. Steffi is a beast at challenges. Like, you got to put some faith here. We do have to mention Steffi and Marianne. They did find the diplomatic immunity, which basically,
that thing is nice.
If you play that, you can play it for yourself and immediately leave tribal and go to the other camp and become part of their tribe, or you can play it for someone else and send them to the other tribe. That's a lot of power, Abraham. That is a ton of power in this game.
You know what? I like when they have good twists and turns. We saw it in the season in Australia where Austin, she played
KJ,
her KJ Austin. Just if y'all have never seen it, KJ Austin is outstanding. Where she had the opportunity to twist the game on his head by sending 3 or 4 players back to camp, and then the remaining could vote. You know what? When you put a well-placed twist at the time, and it was beautiful that Marianne found it because she was on the chopping block. She found it, and she said, "Yeah, I found it. Now, what are we going to do?" That's how PK became on the chopping block. Well, we can't send Marianne home. We're going to send PK home. So we send PK home, but I want to see the real fireworks started after Tribal for that whole cast. Once they came back, it just fell apart. Tony was emotional. Dante was like, "Look, I didn't yell at you," and like we said before, his apology trash.
Oh, we will say,
stay where you're at.
We didn't think that he really raised. Now we are males, so take that how it is, but we didn't feel like he really raised his voice that much. He was just trying to get a point across to her. He didn't like talk down to her or anything. Now Tony, I understand, is going to see it her own way, and that's fine. But that apology, like you said, Abraham, terrible. He's like, I'm sorry, but don't compare me to being like a chauvinistic man husband,
boyfriend.
And he said the 4 words that you never tell anybody, let alone a woman who women have been through a lot. Never say, stop playing the victim. And I was like, oh no. Oh no.
I mean, it was a regular Survivor up until that point. Then after that, it was trash. I was like, you're out of it. You should have said, hey, we just had an argument. Because one of the guys, even in the midst of the argument, it wasn't even an argument. It was just two statements made. He was like, well, yeah, you was wrong.
Tajon stepped up and said, Dante, can you apologize to the lady? You did raise your voice.
But he wasn't, his thing it is. Perception is everything. He wasn't, if you go back and look at the clip, he wasn't raising his voice to her. He was making a statement in the same, as a matter of fact, at the same volume she was trying to make her statement. And that's the thing about it is, in Survivor, you get people from different backgrounds, everything else, and perception is everything. Then he went to apologize, which was cool. Hey, apologize if you felt like, hey, that's needed. But the apology was so wrong that he was in a better standing by just saying, you know what? I'm just not going to say anything.
I do have to say, last thing about the diplomatic community, we should mention she has until the merge to play, and I'm calling that right now, Abraham. What if she waits? First off, well done not to play it because she knew she had the numbers to get out PK. It was really funny when Nico was like, okay, raise your hand if you're voting with the majority tonight.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
And every single person raised their hand. That was hilarious. Classic Survivor. But what if she saves it, Abraham, for a tribe swap when the tribe swap eventually happens? And what if she gets put on a tribe where she's in the minority and then she plays it to go back to the other tribe where she's in the majority now? Like, think how awesome that move would be.
It's a great idol to have. It's just a matter how it really would, it comes down to every idol. How do you manage the idols? We've seen so many players go home with idols in their pocket, to include these returning castaways have all gone on. A few of them, Shane went home with an idol in his pocket. So it's not the first time somebody has a great idol that has great power, ends up going home. So I'm looking for, like you are, that twist and turn, but let's see how it's going to be played. I want to see how it comes out.
Let's talk about one of my favorite alliances I can remember in the game. I absolutely love this group, and I'm usually not one that wants an alliance to stick together and make it to the very end all together. Like, I want them to split up at some point. I want these three. I mean, it's not a final three. It's a final two. It's a final two this season. Don't forget that. Nico did say that. So we're going to have a final two. But I want these three to make it to the final three and then battle it out. It is a group consistent of Marianne, Meryl, and Steffi. And we saw this group start to form day one. And they're calling themselves the full package because they said Meryl is social. She's got the social game down. Steffi is physical. She's got the physical game. And then Marianne is strategic. She's got the strategic game, the full package. Abraham, what do you think about this trio of ladies? Because I think they could go far in this game.
Like any game. Okay, so let's see what we got. Steffi, we got top three. I got it at top three. You got to emerge. It's all, what every game of Survivor is. It's a little bit of luck.
What about the other two? A little bit
of timing.
Meryl, I had as my winner pick.
Let me double check that.
Yeah, I had Meryl as my winner pick. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I had Meryl as top 5, and Marianne is top 5. And so we kind of put them kind of high on the list as far as they're going to go. Which, if you make it the top 5, it's a good chance that you make it to the last 2. So we think highly of them. I think it's a good idea, but I think Marianne is a loose cannon.
Ooh, nervous about Marianne. Abraham, I'm going to talk your ears off about Marianne. Marianne is a top 10 from 1 week. My favorite Survivor player. She's in the top 10. I love
Randy, first of all, you're picking up Survivors. Who's going to win is the worst. So,
well, I didn't pick Marianne to win. So, see, I picked Meryl to win. So,
look, I got you. See, this time, for the viewers that can see this, I got Randy on paper on his choices, so I don't have to go back and be like.
I also have Abraham on paper, which he said Tanya was going to be. He said Tanya was going to be final 8. I said pre-merge, got that right. I said Chappie's was going to be pre-merge, got that right. He said merge. The only one I got wrong was PK. I said PK was going to be final 3, and I got that one wrong.
Yeah, I didn't see that Chappie thing coming. I didn't see Chappie, but you have Marianne down. No, you have Maryland down as winner.
Meryl is my winner, and
Meryl is a winner pick.
Where did I have Marianne? I'm pretty sure I said like top 8 or something.
Merge.
Okay.
No, you didn't. You had it merge, and I had it top 5.
Well, that's why.
So I don't know. I don't know because PK was her ex-boyfriend. She booted him. She's a little emotional, so I don't know how that's going to factor in with her and Tony as they go to these next episodes. So I want to see how that plays out. If that plays out in the Game of Survivor fashion, that 3 will be a force to be reckoned with. And they have immunity idol that could be used. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
You're not willing to jump
on kind of crazy.
You're not willing to jump on the final 3. I think that alliance is going to go far, Abraham.
Well, this is different because unlike US Survivor, they're only going to take 2, which I think is cool because 2, you kind of say you really fought to get there. And that number 3rd spot, he's like, man, I was almost there. So I'm kind of excited about going down to 2.
It'll be a refreshing thing to go to 2. It's classic Survivor. Excuse me. So, let's move on to the immunity challenge we got here. It was a fun one. Each tribe picked 2 people to hold on to a rope while the other players threw bean bags or sacks or whatever you want to call them, and making the bag heavier. Once the bag is dropped and touches the ground, that player is out. So it was for Yontao, it was Teriso and Felix, and Mesu was Dante and Steffi. Came down to the females, and Mesu finally wins immunity here. Let me just say, they also won reward, which was Future Life.
Candy bars.
Well, before you go on your food rant, Abraham, I love the ads. I've been saying US Survivor should do this for years. You know, there's been talk about how much funding they lost during COVID and stuff like that. Whether they are well off money wise, which I'm sure they are and everything. And I know a lot of people don't like ads. Why not use like ads? Like they had Applebee's on season 42. I love that. That's a great like promotion. It gets you money. I love how South Africa to get money. They're not putting them all in your face. It's just like, hey, we're going to give you this fishing kit, which is sponsored by this company. Hey, we're going to give you these Future Life bars because they're sponsoring us or whatever. I love it. Use the ads. Like, no, I don't want it to be the entire episode is ads. I don't want that. But just sponsor the rewards and stuff. Here's Applebee's. Go back to when it's like you're giving out cars for rewards. Here's a new Toyota Camry or whatever. Like that sponsorship can earn you a lot of money. So I never want to hear Survivor be like, well, we're struggling on funds. Just use the ads that you used to. Like Survivor Australia this year was like, oh, you're going to win a nice KFC lunch. And they had KFC sponsor. So I don't know how you feel, Abraham, but I absolutely love the ads. I think it's a smart thing to do in the game.
I think the ads adds another level of the game of anticipation for that reward. You know, because name recognition. If you say, look, we're going to have KFC as your reward, that just makes that challenge even better. Because you can remember KFC and you also remember that you starved. He's like, man, I'm going to do whatever I want to do to get to that KFC. So to me, it adds to the whole game of Survivor, especially doing a challenge when you're tired and you just need an extra boost. Now,
you guys just get one.
Why
fish,
are you wrapping
though?
a candy bar up? yeah, one fish. Why are you wrapping a candy bar up in a wrapper? No. Give them some oatmeal in a jar so they can take it out the jar.
And
don't give them. You don't get anything in a wrapper. Yeah, no utensils.
No, they got bowls, they got spoons, they got.
Oh no. I'm good. Look, I'm good with the reward that they got. I did not like the wrappers. I don't want to put it in the wrappers. I want some ants to be on it. No, I want you to be on Survivor. I don't want you to enjoy yourself that much. I want you to be like, you know how much coconut I ate with dirt on it? We just wash it off. It's like, I got good. So no, I enjoyed the ads, but I didn't enjoy the fact that it was in a wrapper. So
you knew Abraham was not going to like the whole food.
No. I'm still trying to get over Australia's food consumption. It just looked like it was a lot of food. And then, we got a fish.
I don't know, Abraham. I think you're a little petty. Yeah, Tiffany got one fish. One.
I am petty. I never said I wasn't petty in the game of Survivor. I'm just as petty as the rest of them. You can't exclude yourself because you played. So look,
at
if
the
I
reward. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, if I was there, you carry a little bit of pettiness in you.
At the reward, Tony said, this united us as a tribe. I was like, Tony, no, you can't be so mad. She literally said before this reward, I'd rather be playing on the bottom at the other tribe than have to live another minute with these people. They're like, okay, Tony, I get you and PK are close, but like, calm down. Calm down a little bit, girl, because you've got more of a game. PK's not your entire game. And I also loved during that last tribal how PK and Tony were both like, I was going to ask PK about this. We are so sick of everyone hearing this tattoo thing and everyone, assuming that we're working together because of our past. Like, no, we're here. We want to play our own game. Stop assuming this. Well, you are working together. So, like, they're literally right.
I'm trying to figure out how people figured out they had the same tattoo. But again, they knew each other before the game. Here's the thing. Any little edge to get you voted out. Brandon, I would tell him all kind of stuff on you, guy. Don't let us be on the same. You better hope we're on the same tribe. You better hope we're on the same tribe. Because if we on the opposite tribes, I'm telling all kind of stuff on you.
If we're on the same tribe, we better work together.
We better be getting top two. I'll be like, okay, Randy, I'll take second, man.
Oh man, no, I couldn't do
I'll take.
No, you can.
I'll take the truck. Like, I'll take the truck.
They also look for an idol, which is something that everyone assumes now at a reward challenge. There's going to be an idol, which is a fair assumption, but either they didn't find it or Survivor South Africa A+, because I love when Survivor doesn't put an idol there. Yeah, you can look, but we didn't hide anything.
They did it in Australia. It was a part of the meal. They did it. Well, they did it in our season. So it's a staple of the season. But you're right. I like the fact that it wasn't there. Yeah. So it's not as predictable. Take the predictability out of the game. Be like, well, we know when we get reward that there's going to be some type of clue here. No, don't put it there. I like the fact that they put the two symbols on the ground. And you got to figure it out because now you got to try to find an idol in the middle of the entire camp. I think that's more strategy than anything else to try to figure out when I'm going to dig for it. Actually, Shane was doing pretty good because Shane had his back to the symbol and digging all around the post. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Let's get to the end of episode 4 here. So Yantao is going to tribal, and we get this huge battle between Tanya and Pinty, and just Tanya had this incredible speech, absolutely incredible speech. She had a couple of them here that would have swayed me. I still so disappointed in the tribe. I will not look at anyone on that tribe the same way. I am so disappointed in everybody. I don't understand what they're doing, but whatever, that's their game. And then Tanya had her own little spy shack to spy on Shona, Teresa, and Kalani, who were kind of talking trash. And she had a cool quote here. But before I say that, I wanted to make sure I lost it again here. Oh, we got another terrible apology, and that was Tanya's apology to Pinty. She went up. She's like, I'm sorry for calling you this. It was my bad. But you have to admit you were eating too much, and you do take up the best spot. And I was like, Tanya, just say sorry. But if you go and listen to our interview, she's a wonderful person, like Abraham said. But she was not going to change no matter who she is. She is who she is.
She was a bus driver of her own bus.
She says, and I quote, to the three girls, Teresa, Shona, and Killarney, she said, Pinty will beat you guys. You will not beat Pinty. If you don't have the courage, you will never win this game. Abraham, I loved watching Tanya play. And Tanya, I said, I was shocked.
She speaks truth because at some point you got to take the game into your own hands. And if you can't do that, you're just going to be the person they vote out. So at some point you got to say, hey, this was my move. If you get a chance to go back and look at season 42, where Marianne does her final speech to be voted the sole survivor, it was such a speech that had everything it was needed to win. everything that was needed to win, she said. She was like, hey, I did this, this, and this. But most people kind of sit back and say, well, when I get there, then I can make a decision. No, you got to make a decision somewhere along the line that says, hey, this is what stands me apart from the rest of her. So I loved her speech. I think it was a great speech to let people know, hey, you got to have the courage to play this game, or you're just here for the ride.
Were you fully expecting Tanya was gone? Because I kind of did too. I was like, I don't think this is going to get changed.
No, I thought it was going to be Pinty, but I knew why they voted Tanya, because some of them voted for peace in the camp. They just wanted peace in the camp. It wasn't even the food thing. And what it was, Tanya just never, based off the editing, she was relentless in what she was saying. Where Pinty was like, whatever. That's not me. Even in tribal council, she was like, really? Y'all coming at me like this? And her stuff, she was so subtle about everything. Even when she was sitting there smiling when she was talking, it made Tony look like she was the aggressor every time. And that could be for the editing, but it just mean like she was always going at her, even though she was right, because Pinty was doing some stuff. We saw where she slept by the fire. We saw where she was eating food. She was guilty. So, but do you want to say I'll take the guilty one that's quiet, or will I take the one that's pointing out the guilty one that's loud? And people were like, I just want peace and quiet.
There were three things, Abraham. I don't know if I'm sure you, a colored analyst of the game, you know what I'm saying? A person who's been with me, a super fan, I'm sure you caught these moments, but I don't know if everyone did. There was a few moments that happened that kind of slipped under the rug because everyone was just so focused on the Tanya versus Pinty thing. I want to point out, Piney asked Samus to play the idol for her, or at least give her the idol. He said no, but he did play the idol for himself, which was okay. I think
that was because you had to play.
Oh yeah. You're right. Third tribal. Yeah, you had to play it. Yeah.
He had to play it, and he wanted to get rid of it anyway. So it didn't make a difference. But you're right. That was a key thing that he was like, I'm not going to play it. But that solidified the fact that he really is not aligned with Pinty anyway.
Something that I missed, and actually just didn't think about it until I went back and rewatched it. The second thing that you might have missed, Shona created a fake idol, but it's not a fake idol that she's holding on to. She placed it. She hid it at tribal. She walked in, hid the idol. And she says if she ever gets in trouble, she's going to pick it up and use it. She's going to act like she found an idol, hold it up, and hopefully that's kind of smart. Why has no one done that?
Actually, it was ingenious because I was like, what is she doing? Yeah, at first, I thought she found something and she placed it down. And I was like, that is a power move right there, because nobody will ever think that it's not an idol because it's there. And I was like, that is a good move. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people caught that, because I was like, why is she bending down, putting something down there? But that's a power move. I want to see how that plays out. I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
Imagine if someone else finds it.
That
will be comedy gold.
Yeah, that's the same thing as finding a fake idol that somebody created. It's even better because you found a fake idol at tribal that you thought you could use. So it's even better.
But I like that one. So you do like the move.
I like the move. I mean, think about it. You're at tribal council and you make a move and be like, remember, go back to Australia where Chrissy and them fought for the idol that was actually on the podium. They had to pull it off the podium. Same basic idol structure. You never know where idol's going to be at. So you got this idol at tribal that you pick it up and be like, idol. Because nobody can say it's not an idol versus it out in the woods or in the jungle. Now they'd be like, well, maybe it's not an idol. Let's take a chance on it. I think the placement of it makes it so much more a mystery than actually find an idol. So,
and we've seen nothing of Shona so far. And two of my people on my fantasy team have already been taken out, and PK and Tanya, and I don't think she's going to last that much longer. I'm talking the fantasy team. I gotta send it to you. We're doing a fantasy contest on Twitter where it's our entire podcast against other podcasts. And yeah, I should have had you on that draft because we've already lost two people.
Now for pre-merge, so we'll see. We both have a pre-merge.
The last thing that you might have missed, and this is the one that I really do believe everyone missed, but I picked up on it. He was never going to be the vote, but Phil walks up to, I think it was Felix, and he throws out the idea of Seamus being voted out very soon. He said if we don't get Seamus out, or Seamus, I think it's pronounced Seamus, but there's no H, so I don't know how it's pronounced Seamus, but I think it is. If we don't get Seamus out, or Seamus, pretty soon, we're going to be on the wrong side, and he's going to backstab all of us and take us out. He's a dangerous player. It was It was right before Tribal, so it was a weird placement because it just didn't fit in. He like said that the two talked. Felix was like, "Who are you talking about?" He said Seamus, and Felix like, "Oh yeah, you're probably right." And then we went to Tribal, and nothing else was said about it.
Well, rewind now. Go back to when Seamus went to Dino and said, "Hey, you're good. Don't worry. We're not going to vote you out. You're part of the club here." So I think down the line we'll see more about Seamus. But in these first 4 episodes, not enough of them that says he's going to be one of the marquee players that they're going to really edit it hard. But you go back and look at him and Dino when he was in the fire, you're going to be like, wait a minute, how's he covering for him right now when he's hurt? So Seamus knows something that we don't know that hasn't been presented yet. So I'm gonna say it's a good move. Put him on the radar.
I'll say this: the last thing about these episodes, Tanya goes home, almost unanimous. But let me tell you this quote. If you guys didn't really listen to this quote, it is an amazing last ditch effort. I don't know about you, Abraham. Usually you want to go with the tribe at wherever the vote's going, even if you don't agree with it. You just don't want to stand out. I would have voted, even though it would have probably ruined my game. I would have voted for her after this. She says, and I quote, "Let me throw out some Survivor wisdom. A day one alliance doesn't mean that they're your friends throughout the game. They can turn into rivals, and a rival today can be an alliance tomorrow. What everyone fears the most is that 9 votes could mean nothing, and 1 vote could mean everything."
Look, she's right. Excellent quote. I mean, it moves fast. You make decisions, and until it's over, nothing's for sure. You just got to play. That's why you're there, man. That's why you're there to play the game of Survivor. Outwit, outplay, outlast. And it never stops until they crown the sole survivor.
Would it have been enough for you, Abraham? If you're sitting there, would you have voted with her, or would you just stick with the plan?
You know, here's everything has a strategy to it. Would voting for her keep her in the game longer to help me out? That's really what it comes down to. Or where she self-destruct again on somebody else. So it's kind of like, I love the quote, but I'm also playing the game. I love the quote. I think the quote is the best thing ever. But here's the thing, you're playing the game. And like I said, if you look at Pinty really doesn't say a lot. When she do say something, it's kind of gruffy, but we don't have it where she says a lot. We know she'll hide and eat food by herself, and I think that's going to eventually get her. But right now, peace and quiet is more important. Great statement, full of truths, but you're like, okay. When she didn't listen to Telvin, I knew she was gone. I knew they was going to vote her out regardless, no matter what she said after that. And then, you know, she confronted the 3 young ladies, and she went at them. So any alliance that she could have had, she was her own worst enemy to destroying it anyway. So she was gone. But to answer your question, I would have kept her.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if she had us, Abraham,
I probably would have voted out next. No, because I probably would have voted out next. She probably would have kept doing something.
What do you think about this first week? Because let me just tell you, I mean, we kind of talked about this earlier. He ranked at number 2. I'm a big I would probably agree with the order you said. Survivor Australia is the best. This is second. US has fallen to third. I'm loving this. The way they shoot it, the camera work, they're very cinematic with it. Like it's just, I don't know how to describe it. Like the way they use the lighting and stuff, it's just very cinematic, and I love it.
I think I want more. I look at what I've done and had a chance to do, and I look at their season from that perspective. What if I was on that challenge? How would I play it? But they're presenting the challenge. They're like, oh, here's our challenge. I'm like, oh, we didn't get that on our season. That was a great challenge. And also the way the dynamics are this season for the merge and pre-merge as cast members coming back to play against each other. I would love for them to do that in a Survivor. I would also like for y'all to start at season 41 as the returnees. So as we do 43, 44, let 45 be one of those pre-merge return. I'll be ready. But it's that you look at it and you want to play it. And that's how I come. That's really with my rack and stack. I feel like, well, how does the rack and stack he played? But I look at theirs and I want to play theirs. I want to be against them on the other side on that challenge, or the way they're the dynamics of the game, because you're really building your own Survivor game off of other Survivor games. You're looking at Australians like, oh yeah, I like that twist. I would have put it in our season. That'd have been a great twist for our season. That hourglass twist for our season, everybody kind of hated that one. Danny especially hated it.
The do or die
but
advantage.
then I saw the twist in Australia. Yeah, please let's not talk about that.
The shot.
I'd rather have the do or die advantage than the shot. Why'd you bring that up, guy? That's a look. We played it one time in the whole season. Season 42, I think, played it 3 times. We call it the guinea pig season. We're the guinea pig season for season 42. And the fact
it's staying 26 days moving forward, that's a cool thing, by the way. It's weird. We're only going to do 6 of these episodes, Abraham. This goes for 6 weeks. But what's cool about it, Dino pointed this out. So the way they filmed it and scheduled it and everything, we are going to be watching the show over the course of 39 days. If you take when the show started on Monday and take the very last episode on the Thursday in 6 weeks time or 5 weeks time, or it's 5 weeks time now, that is 39 days. That's how they planned it. Isn't that kind of cool?
I mean, I like it. I wish we'd have had, I wanted the 30 days of Survivor. I wanted the 2 tribes versus the 3 tribes. But again, you get what you get, and I enjoy what I experienced. So never going to complain about that. But I would have chosen, because we grow up on a certain style and want to be a part of that. And we kind of practice for it. We practice for 10. We don't practice for 6. It's like, God, no, 6. So it's a mixed bag, man. But at the end of the day, if you get a chance to play the game of Survivor, it makes no difference. You play what you get.
Last couple of questions here. A fan of the 4 episodes, a fan of the 3 episodes, a fan. What's the right mix here? Because I'll be honest, I'll start it out. 4 episodes is a little much. It's a little much. I love it, and I'm never going to complain about more Survivor. But I've had to watch it twice just to make sure I go back and not miss anything. I think 3 is a little much too. I think if we did like 2 episodes a week, one on Wednesday, one on Friday, sign me up. That's where now that I've had the full experience, Survivor Australia did 3 days a week and then kind of went down, or something like that. And now we're getting 4 days a week. So what's the happy medium here?
First of all, Randy, you working. That's why I seem like it's a lot. If you wasn't
see
doing
these
a
bags
podcast,
in my eyes.
This is our 3rd podcast today. So you're working. If you're not working, you don't care how many episodes. Matter of fact, you're happy because now you can tune in for every episode and you don't have to wait. So as a fan of the show, I'm happy about the 4 episodes per week. As a working person with Randy on the recovery, no, I'm good with 1. I'm good with 1.
Oh, Abraham, are you not having fun doing this?
I've seen Randy all day today. So
you're saying that like it's a problem.
The fact they have it available to us. No, it's not a problem. Look,
no, Randy, Abraham and I are on that
state on a podcast with you. I can't complain.
Abraham and I have it's
a blast.
We've evolved. We have that press access now.
Yeah, so we're enjoying the whole thing. So being a part of it, and actually for the people that don't know, Randy is the only podcast I know that's really showing the exit interviews for Survivor South Africa. So if you want to find it, you got to find it here.
Survivor Now podcast.
You got to come out. You got to check us out, and we're having a great time. I mean, we're having fun. So this is fun. Is it 4 days a week? Yes, it is. And we do have to look at every episode. We do look. Got my notes. Got my notes. Everything. I'm always ready. And I'm having a blast. So no complaints.
What are you looking? Last thing, and I feel like this is something we should start ending the episode with. What are you looking forward to? Give us 1 or 2 things that you want to see next week or evolve over the season, and then I'll give you 2 of mine.
You know what? Since it's already started, I want to see how Pinty does. And I want to see how
Having a little bit of connection issues here.
it's kind of fun. I'm looking at Randy. I'm like, did Randy move or did he not move?
Oh, there we go. We have Abraham back. I'll have to edit that part out. We had some connection issues, but you're back. So yeah, what I heard Pinty a little bit. So what are you looking forward to, Abraham?
So I'm looking to see if Pinty has learned her lesson. I'm looking to see if Shane is truly the Juicy Dave we think he might be. And I'm looking to see if Tori is going to reel herself back in and
Tony,
settle down. And here's the thing about it is they know, Tony, they know where their shortcomings are at. They say it in their stuff. It's like, I know I should calm down. So let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to see what happens. What you got?
I want to see the full package. Give me more of the full package on screen. I think those three ladies are going to kill it. I want to see Marianne and how she uses this diplomatic immunity. I want to see who finds the immunity on the Mesu tribe and does it still only because remember when Yanta found it, it was only good until the third tribal. So it
goes back. Another one comes back.
Is it irrelevant now for the Mesu tribe because they still haven't found it and we're past the third tribal now? So
yeah, you're right.
So what happens there? Let me think. Anything else? I want to see more of Dino. I'm kind of disappointed that he's getting the purple edit as of now. And then the only other thing I can say at the moment, I think Polisa, I keep saying her name wrong, but Polisa or whatever, I think she's got so much more to give in this game, and I would like to see her cut to Jean and Tony loose and let them play, let them go out or do their own thing, because I'd like to see a tribe swap happen. I want to see what Polissa actually has when she gets the numbers because I think she's a very smart player.
I think we might not see her into merge. I think we might not see her come really into her own into the merge. So let's see because she said she wants to play better. So let's see if she plays better.
Well,
she got a little target on her back. They planted a little target on her back by giving her the idol. But we're going to see how that all plays out.
We have done it. I told you we'd go a little over like an hour and 30 minutes, but Abraham, I felt that went smoothly. Four episodes.
It did.
I mean, I liked how we did it. It's much, we kind of dropped the whole go in chronological order, but I like it. We kind of just talked about whatever we wanted to talk about. It worked out very well. Couldn't do it without you, man. Couldn't do it without you. Make sure, before I let Abraham give you his closing comments here, make sure to go check out those interviews. They were a blast. They're usually only going to be, Abraham and I get to interview every castaway as they leave this season, which is going to be a blast. They usually can only be 30 minutes long, but because of the PK cancellation and Tanya didn't have anything else to do, we got like an hour-long conversation with Tanya, and we got like a 40-minute conversation with Chappies. So go check out those interviews. They were a blast. It's an honor every time someone gets to join us on this show, and it's an honor every time we get to have someone on this show. So it's a blast. Go follow our Instagrams at Survivor Now Podcast, at Reality Randy. You can catch me at I'm Randy Bruce. Abraham, Instagram again, man. What is it?
Abraham _99 _99 on Instagram.
So go.
Hey, look, if you want to see some fun Survivor South Africa and just look at how an international plays, go check it out. Once you see these 4 episodes, then come by to the Survivor Now podcast and check out our interviews.
Check out. Yeah, it is.
You will not be disappointed.
We'll be covering the entire season. And then once the season's over, Abraham, it's going to be about Survivor 43 time in September. It's coming up fast. A month, basically a month and a half. Or no, it's probably 2 months. Because September 21st, and it's July 22nd. So 2 months.
I will be somewhere at the premiere party for that particular one.
Hey, can you let me know where you're going for the premiere party? Because I'm going to be back to work pretty soon, and I might fly out somewhere and meet you for a premiere party or drive out.
I'll probably be on your side. I'm coming. They invited me to come up to Philadelphia, so I'm gonna see what they're doing. I'll let you know when they
Ooh.
put it together.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
let you know when they put it together.
Okay. If I
I
can
can get you
go.
into that one. I can get you in. Yeah, I can get you into that one.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely let me know. But
Look,
well,
they always give us a +1.
are you going to let me be
They give
your
us a
plus
+1.
one? Oh
Yeah.
man, Abraham. Oh man, I can never repay you for like all that you've given me,
Yeah.
knowledge on Survivor and everything. It's been say it every show, a blessing to have Abraham here with me.
This has been a great ride. No complaints.
But definitely tune in next week for more interviews. I think Gabe's going to be back in Texas next
I'll be
week.
back in Texas. I'll
So
be back in Texas next week.
it'll be awesome. Like and subscribe our YouTube channel. And again, if you guys are watching this, listening to it, you are part of our premium membership. We really do appreciate you guys and love bringing you more Survivor content. So we will see you guys next week.